They did this to stop children from eating them, as the first taste would be bitter.
The pods are bright and colorful, and they can look like candy. At least 10 deaths have been linked to ingesting the pods. They should not be played with, even if meant as a joke.
Your body may respond with a wave of nausea to prepare you to vomit, even before you swallow.
And then if you bite it or go to spit it out, it could burn your lips. Now, believe it or not, things actually become worse if you actually manage to swallow. You may also react to the foul taste by inhaling sharply, which will cause the pod to lodge in your throat, and this is all before the pod even hits your stomach.
This is what started out as a joke on the internet, and now it's just gone too far.
Hey, welcome back to Eat the Pods. Episode 5.
Episode 5 of Eat the Pods.
Welcome back to Eat the motherfucking Pods, bitch. Enjoy yourself. It's a celebration. Yo,
well, there was no celebrating this week for me, honestly. This is Alex, the annoyed one, and I am very annoyed this week. I think I'm done letting you choose all the pods because I see.
Man, hold up, man. Listen,
this is a theme with you. This is a theme that you have with these pods, and I'm not liking this theme. So, but I digested the pods.
It's not a theme.
It's definitely a theme.
It's not a theme.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
it's a theme.
It is supposed to be centered around urban/culture.
You know what? And I dispute that because this reminds me when I worked at a bookstore and they always had the best of urban literature and they always threw up Mary B. Monroe and they threw, Styles P's books. They threw up the Zane novels. And that's not to say that's not a part of urban culture because it is, but it is not the only part of urban culture.
No, it's not.
There needs to be some diversity, and you don't seem to understand the meaning of the word diversity when you pick up these podcasts.
Hold on. First of all, let me give you my train of thought when it was coming with picking these pods. All right,
here we go.
So I figured that. Hold up, which ones we did the read? I didn't know what the fuck the read was about. Like I came into that completely blind. The only reason I picked that is because it was cartoon animation for their logo, and it was on Tidal. I saw it on Tidal. I was like, oh, okay, let's try this.
I didn't see it on Tidal. I saw it on Spotify like a while ago. First of all, you told me that it was the real, which is whole different pods. Now, luckily, I was able to.
There's a lot of fucking pods out there.
Yeah, there is. But luckily, the way these guys were talking was very eloquent, and they had a point, and they had plot to the real. It's actually called "It's the Real," and they were doing something, and it was so. The pod level was so high, I knew it couldn't have been one that you picked. So I knew I was at the wrong. I knew I was on the wrong pod.
Yeah, you shade me like that, nigga.
Oh yeah, oh definitely.
God damn, nigga, you picked the wrong. There's 91 degrees outside. The fuck you get the shade from?
First of all, let me explain something to you. I had to digest these pods, and
I did too.
Yeah, but this is up your alley.
This is not up my alley. Listen, man. First of all, don't say shit's up my alley.
This right up your alley.
All right,
right up your alley. All right, so this week, before we delve too deep into what I was forced to listen to this week, let's tell you about the 3 pods that were chosen by Rachieman over here. We have the Unwifeable Podcast.
Yes, the Unwifeable Podcast.
We have the Read Podcast.
The Read.
Also, too, we did Red Table Talk. Now, Red Table Talk is a little different because I really don't classify this as a pod. That was more like a show.
I don't think it is a pod, but it's our fucking podcast, and we could
exactly. We just do what we want. Like, yeah, whatever. You got a problem with it? Then skip that part of the podcast. But I honestly,
so that was my fucking that was my thinking. Was that okay? Once I got into the Read, I was like, okay, I know what this is. You know what I'm saying? I get it. Right. And then I got into Unwifeable. Now, the premise for Unwifeable is like a lot of them, and it's funny you mentioned like urban books because a lot of them I felt like was the girl. She was the prettiest girl in the neighborhood. She found the drug dealer. I don't know how she fell for him. She was a virgin and all, and then she fucked with. It's the same story. You know what I'm saying? So when we talking about Unwifeable, I caught an earlier episode and they were talking about how they were just talking about dating in New York. And I was like, okay, dating in New York.
Which well, we might as well just start with the Unwifeable podcast since we've already started to discuss that a little bit. This one was a live episode.
Yeah, we got 2 lives this week.
2 lives this week. This one was an hour and 15 minutes, which seemed like 10 hours and 15 minutes to me. But that was the thing. I feel it's about dating in New York. City, do you think that they stayed to that topic, or do you think that they strayed from it some? Or
I mean, it's about her date situation. I mean, she got into that. Wasn't the point of the show for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if this was a typical show because it's just one that we heard, and I've heard for the first part of other episodes.
Me too.
And I don't think that it was like this one. This one had a guest. The guest was a porn star.
Right.
What was her name? I know her AKA. I can't forget that shit. Her name was Spit Queen. The Spit Queen.
Right. I forgot she said her porn name. I did not look it up, actually.
Damaris.
Oh, look at you.
Rivera.
Of course you know.
Listen, I had to do my research.
That's what it was. Is that what it's called now?
For the
it's called research?
Of the pod.
That's what's called research. Yeah. You're sitting in front of your computer with no pants on, watching this girl's...
Nigga, I had pants on. I had pants on. I'm a fucking professional. I don't even take my pants off, nigga. When I'm 12 years old, nigga. No fucking pants off. I don't even need no fucking lotion. I raw hand that motherfucker.
Well, you know what? It's good that we're talking this way because of the fact that
all jokes aside, I did type her name in the search engine,
and I think it was Queen Spit. Actually,
it was Queen Spit.
I thought you said Spit Queen when you
I don't know. Well,
I think it was Queen Spit. I didn't look it up, but yeah, you
didn't look it up.
No, why would I? I mean, it's porn. I mean, I don't feel the need to look up like specific women in porn.
I was curious.
I wasn't curious at all.
Because she sound real Bronxish. She's like, yeah, you know. I just been fucking and, I was like, damn. No disrespect to the Bronx.
No,
Not much disrespect. I don't think I could say that in the same breath. But,
I mean, what did you think about this podcast?
I honestly already have a podcast that I go to for this stuff, and I feel like this was less formatted than that one.
Okay.
I just felt like it was, it consists. First of all, it's live, so I feel like, I don't know. It wasn't really that interactive because we did 2 lives this week and it wasn't really interactive. What I do
they
feel
were
that
yelling stuff out from the audience, and they had their comments that they would take. And as far as like somebody would yell something out, especially when there was a part of there where they were talking about is dry humping sex, that was got people talking or whatnot, and people just kind of yelling things out whenever someone would say something. So there was that. That
was some bullshit, man. that right. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, Alice is gonna love this.
This type of stuff isn't really for me. Okay, so if you're like me, if you don't consider sex to be taboo, then this may not be the podcast for you. Also, if you for guy, and here's a spoiler alert for all the guys out there. If you're a guy and you don't want to hear someone talking about dick sucking for 20 minutes and like, you probably going to want to skip this episode because that might not be for you. If it is for you, fine. But just to let you know, they'll put a disclaimer on it. I'm
like, be honest with you. Like, I will listen to pods about that, but I didn't expect for it to be that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. Nigga, it said Queen Spit. I thought it was a battle rapper. I ain't know what the fuck was.
No, you did not.
I didn't know who it was, bro. It said Queen Spit. Like, I wasn't thinking that that it was about.
No, you were hoping. And you got your wish.
No, I wasn't even hoping, bro. I had no idea. I went into all of these Jones not knowing what to expect for real. This week I really did, because it didn't come from Horrible Decisions. I don't know where I got Unwifeable from. And
I know that definitely had to come from Horrible Decisions in some way.
I don't think it did.
It may have been on like you watching it on like YouTube and it popped up on the side or something like that. Maybe. I don't know, because I don't see where else you would have like just came across
this shit.
Yeah, but back to my point though, if it's whenever someone would mention a certain like sex act, somebody would like high five, or it's like, ooh, high five for this, or ooh, girl, can I get a yas, for something like that. And
can you get what?
No, they'd be like, ooh, can I get a yas for this type thing. Now for me, like, sex isn't really taboo. Like, if it felt like, I don't really know how to put this into words, it felt like someone
just discovering their sexuality.
Right.
Like, it's like, why are we talking about this shit?
Right, it's like weed. Because I see a lot of people do this with weed, and they smoke weed, and I don't even know if they really like weed, but they think it's cool, and they think that, and this is especially back before weed was legal in a lot of states, they felt like they were doing something that they shouldn't be, and that added an extra element to it. And they talk about this on the show about how sex is taboo and this, and I'm like, not
Did
to
they
me, it
talk
isn't.
about that?
Yeah, they
these
said that.
bitches sound like they ain't doing it because they think it's cool. They just sound like they thoroughly loving this shit. Like this broad was talking about the guy, the white guy. We're gonna get into some content on this just because.
Yeah, go ahead with that.
Go ahead. She's talking about the guy. She went on a date with the guy. All right, she goes on a date with this guy.
Bud.
This guy's name is Bud. Now she's a self-proclaimed. Now the hosts on the show. Side note: the hosts are BJ and MJ.
Right.
I don't know which one of them went on a date with Bud, but I didn't even care to distinguish who was who. It didn't matter. It really didn't matter. But so one of them went on a date. She's a self-proclaimed virgin, which is straight bullshit. I don't. Well,
no, she's a virgin for 2018 because she hasn't had sex this year.
But why? Why do you have to? You trying to fuck your own mind up about the fact that you're worth something? I think. I don't. But that's a side note. I'm not even going to get into that. That whole virgin 2018.
I didn't get that. I didn't get the whole point of that. I mean, I don't think it's wrong to not be a virgin. So I don't know why you want to classify as that unless you're trying to
virgin me.
Yeah, and I mean, you could just say I didn't have sex this year, like, and then that would be. I don't know why you have to add.
Maybe it's just a playful thing, I guess.
Maybe this is slang that we don't. Maybe that's the slang that as guys we don't relate to.
Yeah, that's some ass shit. That's all it is. So, anyway, she's a virgin for 2018. I actually think that she took the initiative to be a virgin for 2018. I think that's what she didn't want to fuck in 2018. Anyway, don't look at me like that, bro. Anyway, man, so the guy, I guess she had the dude's number. She ghosted dude. She came back from the ghost. She called it zombie. She zombied up on him. I mean, I feel like that's pretty witty, I guess.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Yeah, she came back. She called herself a zombie for coming back from the dead. Anyway, dude was with it. He's like, yeah, let's link. They went out on a date, showed her a good time, went on a play. And she made a note that she's like, damn, why these niggas that ghosted me, they won't trying to do this yet. I ghost this dude, and he trying to take me out and have a good time. So he showed her a good fucking time. They wound up back to the crib. Surprise. They wound up back at the crib, and she didn't fuck him. Man, this shit crazy right here. So this dude winds up, I don't even know how this happens. But anyway, all right, here's the thing. This dude basically wound up somehow in a position. He cocked his legs up and cocked himself up over this girl's titties and then proceeded to basically beat off onto her titties.
Right.
And then she says thank you.
Correct.
So I'm sitting here listening to this shit, and then she asks her co-host, she's like, well, how soon, what do I do the second date now? Should I suck his dick? No, that's the third date.
No, that was, I think, what she asked her friend.
Yeah,
because her friend was like, why didn't you let him get up in them guts? Yeah. After she, I guess, told him about the incident that happened on their date.
Yeah. So why didn't you let him in the guts? So she asked her friend, should I suck his dick on the next one? Like, he's like, no, that's the third date.
Right. The second date
you should give him a hand job.
Right.
Now, I thought of this. Who are you trying to mind fuck here? Are you trying to mind fuck yourself or Bud? Because Bud is definitely not mind fuck. Anyone who on the first date and you back at his crib and has the confidence enough to take his pants off and squat and thrust into his own hand onto your breast while you sit there and then you thank him, he knew what you was from the jump. You're the only one that thought you was anywhere remotely close to a virgin. So I hope that was just a little playful jest that goes on with the show.
Yeah, I think
you weren't fooling any fucking body. I've never sat there and motorboated a woman with my penis and had the idea that, you know what, she's a wholesome girl that I need to.
You know, I don't think it's weird that she's having these questions about, you know, what she should do on the second.
This is a grown ass woman too.
Yes.
I mean, I would assume that she's a grown ass woman.
This is a weird thing to be wondering about on a second or a third date, in my opinion. Only because if you hit up a guy that you've ghosted and you come back and he's like immediately down for whatever. He doesn't even want to have a conversation about the fact that you ghosted him.
No,
he's not seeing no future with you in that sense. It's like, oh, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's when. So you don't really need to go through the rigmarole.
Yeah,
of trying
what should
to figure
I do
out,
next? Bitch, you can do anything. Put it in your ear. It don't matter. It's y'all are clearly with the shits, but you trying to fool someone. I don't even know. Like, is it that she's trying to navigate her own Virgin 2018 thing?
It has to be a personal thing.
Yeah, she's trying to do it for herself and navigate it and still hold on to whatever it is that this whole 2018.
Well, I don't know if that
means.
counts though, because there was some other dude in the very beginning of the podcast who gave her a massage and put his dick in her for a while, and then he pulled it out like midway through, and then they just finished and have a conversation.
All right, so y'all kind of get what this podcast is.
Oh yeah,
it's the live version of this where it's a whole bunch of them at every one of these. You know, when they telling a story, I got a story to tell, and when Big Shit says, you know why shit's on the bitch, and then it's just a stadium of motherfuckers. It's like, yes. But I mean, you know what?
I'm fine with people owning their sexuality. Yeah. I am fine with people telling stories about their sexuality. It just, for me personally, it just doesn't hold a lot of interest, because it feels like everybody in the audience is just, like I said, they kind of gravitate toward it because they feel like this is like, oh, this is so exciting, and I just don't feel that way about it, because it's just sex. I don't feel like the need to. I didn't really hear a lot of dating going on. I heard a lot of sex talk, but I didn't really hear a lot of dating.
It wasn't. So
then she starts off
the theme of the podcast is dating in New York, and I guess they label themselves unwifeable. And yes, I agree.
Well, I
don't agree because we said this. I ain't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But I don't agree because they're fucking a lot or they slutting a lot. And I thought this was noteworthy because the guest that they had was a porn star, but she was married. Correct. But her husband and her were all the way good with it.
Right.
The only reason I say you probably is unwifeable, and I don't even know if they mean this plainly. They just sticking with unwifeable as a thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it does sound. It has a
ring to it.
It has a ring to it.
Yeah, it's marketable.
And it's marketable. But my thing is that is a point of the show in the beginning where she was saying, I don't know whether I want to be booed up for the summer or be a that. Did she say that?
I think she said hoe.
Hoe. Whatever.
She said hoe, yeah.
Yeah. She ain't know which one she want to be. That in itself really makes you unwifeable. Just not knowing where you stand or how you feel on anything. So
exactly. No, and I agree with that.
So I mean, if you are promiscuous or whatever your sex life is, whatever the fuck you into, that's not to say that you are unwifeable. You know what I'm saying? There's someone out there that is into that same bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Or not bullshit. You know what I'm saying? There's someone out there for you. But not even knowing what you feel like doing with your vagina and your time and your life in regards to the opposite sex is crazy.
Right. I mean, if like that's, and I agree with that. That was what made her unwifeable in my eyes, was just that she didn't know what she wanted. And there's no way you can actually be a wifeable person when you're not ready to commit to one thing.
And in her defense, I don't even think she's under the illusion that she's even thinking about being wifeable. Being wifed.
Right. I mean, the show is called Unwifeable, so I think that they, hey, this is,
they're not even making a run at it. They just,
I don't know, because the other girl, I think she has somebody. I thought I heard something. Yeah, I thought I heard something.
Oh yeah. She said like me and her. She was talking about her and her significant hadn't heard from her in a while.
Right. Yeah.
I guess she spent the night over wherever. So
I think it was Bud.
Was it Bud?
I think
she was with Bud.
Yeah,
Bud.
That reminds me of the Cosby Show.
That's what I think of. Bud.
Yeah, but this is a white dude, so not the same Bud. But yeah, so did you have any other notes about that show?
Let me see it. Go ahead through it. Just that this is the first pod that we did that actually was live. A lot of pods are they're having a following and enough interaction, and the numbers is supporting them going out on tour. So they have a fan base. This is the first one that we did. And what I got from this is the interaction level. Basically, it's like you're sitting you listen to these people because you like the vibe for whatever reason, or is some pertinent information there that you like to get. this is a vibe show, in my opinion. I don't know. The only thing about going to the live show is that you're invested in these people if you bought a ticket, and they're gonna do their best to make it interactive. Like
Right.
whether it's Q&A or it's games, like a game night vibe. It's basically the pods. The way that they do live is that they want you to feel like you in the living room and you part of the clique.
One thing though that I didn't take away from this podcast though is, like, last week I felt like each show gave us something, or I was able to pull something out of it to have a good discussion about. I really didn't get that from this podcast, and not just because it was about sex, but it just wasn't any. Even with the interview, I thought, like, I've seen people interview porn stars before, and they ask a lot of good questions and whatnot, and this seemed to really just focus in on, like, how do I get the best blowjobs? And you know what I'm saying? Like, it was really kind of, I mean, I don't want to sell them short. They did ask a few other questions, but I really thought that if you're going to interview a porn star, that there was a lot of things that you could ask that they just didn't.
Well, they did ask. They asked the girl how it is your first scene, how it is that she got into it. The girl responded that she did her legwork, she did her research. It's certain companies that she wouldn't deal with. She did talk about how if you're dealing with a certain group, like a certain porn production company, that depending on the vibe there, you might wind up just basically casually fucking all day. And then some that she just wouldn't even deal with. Like, I think she said she wouldn't fuck with ghetto gaggers, demeaning. What she call it? Like, damn, I seen this in the search engine. I don't know, but basically it's insulting, kind of. I'm not here to judge.
No, I don't.
She say she's fucking insulted by it. She's insulted by it.
I just don't. It's weird to me because one of the things is I never judge anybody for whatever that they're on. Whether it's sexual or lifestyle or things like that. So it's weird to me to hear someone say something within the porn industry is demeaning, because some people feel like the whole porn industry in itself is demeaning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So but everybody does have their personal preference. But I mean, I've just seen porn stars interviewed before, and it's kind of gone a little deeper. But it felt like this wasn't so much an interview of Queen Spit as it was, hey, come on our show and we'll just talk about some things, and I'll throw a few questions in there, as opposed to just like an actual interview of her coming in. But I think that's not what people came there for, really. They really came there to hear the host, talk about whatever they were going to speak about for that day.
Side note, I do feel like this is noteworthy just because I thought I was kind of with it. Like, this question really works for me. Like, this is my in the bag question. I asked, like, once I have a good kind of report, I asked, like, so what do you type in your search in your porn search engine search? So when I heard that question, I was like, oh shit, nigga, damn, maybe I am a fuck boy, huh?
No, you are 100%.
Nah, man, hold up, man.
100%. No, well, let's go through the pods before we get to your ways.
But yeah, I thought that was a good question, dude. We had that conversation before, though.
We did. No, wait, what conversation?
What do you put in your?
That's not something. That's something you asked me, not something I asked you.
Yeah, you ain't asked me. I asked you, but then we had the conversation subsequently.
Yeah, because I'll talk about anything.
It is a
literally anything.
Conversation too. This nigga's into.
No,
all
I'm
right,
just
let's
regular.
Go ahead. Let's go
I'm
ahead.
just
into,
like I don't really watch porn.
Regular.
Like,
nigga, did you say you regular? You put me on to the shit I watch now, nigga.
But that's because I worked in a porn store, so I know everything.
You put this on to me when you worked at the other store. We both worked that together.
But I would worked in a porn store before that, though. So everything
so you just
that
remembered.
Well, first of all, I remember everything. But that's neither here nor there.
Brain
The point is, I mean, once you work in a porn store for years, you're not really going to come up against anything sexually wise that you're not going to find, because it's all the stuff is, there's nothing new under the sun. So it just is what it is. And I was there for 4 or 5 years. So this all seems rather generic to me.
All right. So yeah, what you're gonna get with that is what you're gonna get. That is a Yas podcast.
Yeah. So who is this for?
Episode.
Who would you classify if there's a viewers out there and they said they were asking you to market this to its target audience? Who would you say their target audience would be?
Again, I would say that this is the counterpart to one of the pods we did before, which is the He-Man Women Haters Club podcast. I feel like if you wanted to know the type or the women that they talking about or trying to bag, it's probably her. Either one. Well, I can't say either one of them. I only remember the one with the story, to be honest with you.
She had a lot of stories.
She had a few fucking stories. And that might have been the same one that was really engaging a porn star. Was it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. See, so I couldn't even tell you about the other host.
I didn't really hear too much from her.
Yeah.
So I guess this would be what is the target audience like? If it would be
the target audience is a person who is still in the earlier end of their sexual activity, where it's still a thrill to hear a story or two or three, or just the stories of navigating being single and hotels. That's basically what it is. That's the person that's going to be interested in this podcast.
That makes sense.
Is a somebody who still, this does something for them to hear.
Right.
And again, like I said, I definitely feel like this is probably the counterpart to, you know what I'm saying, He Man Woman Haters Club. This is definitely who I could see them at the same fucking party.
Oh, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think they're both, aren't they New York based? Both of them?
They both New York based.
Yeah.
They probably know each other. I mean, shit, you would think these cities are not that, I mean, these areas, the boroughs are not that far apart. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure they have to know at least of each other. I mean, it's a lot of motherfuckers there, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did mention that you normally see the same people at the same parties on the He-Man Woman Hater Club, and they probably seen each other. It was like, hey.
And also, if you follow a lot of pods on social media, you'll see that they all like each other's stuff. They all seem to be associated loosely, like 6 degrees of separation. You know what I'm saying? And we're outside of that. We must be like at the 12th degree or something. I mean, we're way out. We're way out there. But it's all good. We still gonna do our motherfucking thing.
Exactly. So, all right. So we went from that was the first live, and let's go to the second live.
Now the second live was the read, and that is with Kid Fury and what's her name? Crissle. Yeah, Crissle.
Yeah,
is
one
is it Crissle or is it just?
No, it's Crissle, I believe.
That's what I saw on the pod art, on the artwork for the pod. It said Kid Fury and Crissle.
Yeah, that's right. What and this one was an hour and 44 minutes.
I didn't understand what it. Sorry, I didn't understand the read, and then once I heard this shit, I was like, okay, this is read like. And I don't want to be that guy, but it's like cliche. I'm gonna read this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna basically tell someone about themselves. and not. I know I sound like an asshole, but nah, it's actually a segment on the end of the podcast called The Read, and they did just that. They read some motherfuckers. So, you know what I'm saying?
This was at the Essence Fest.
Yeah, it was at the Essence Fest. Was the other one? Nah, what was the other one at?
I don't know, just some place in New York, I think. I think it was just a local.
Yeah. I meant to actually look at these pods and see what their numbers were, but I didn't. So
no,
I didn't
either.
Go back and
it's kind of hard though sometimes because they're in so many different places that you don't know, what their true numbers are because they've got their podcast loaded in 7 different places, so the numbers are kind of skewed throughout. So you don't know who's listening to Apple. If the same people watch it on Apple or listen to it on Apple are also, checking that on SoundCloud or whatnot. So, what did you think about this one?
I have things I liked about it, and I had things that were just not for me.
Okay.
I thought that the dude Kid Fury funny as fuck. I think he was funny when he got in his vocabulary bag. The way he's strung together, you know what I'm saying, when he's roasting somebody, that shit was funny, man. This dude was funny as fuck. But aside from that, it's I think it's pop culture. I think that's what it was. The first part of the show seemed to be pop culture, current events type of deal. Basically the rundown on what's going on currently in the culture. You know what I'm saying? And I really they are nerds in that aspect of knowing about. It ain't my shit. Like I can't tell you about all the reality TV show stars and the tea on each one of them. And
yeah, I had no idea who they were talking
about a lot of what they was talking about. Like I knew that they came from reality TV. That was enough for me to kind of like, I tuned out on it. But it was enough for me that I get what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's smart to, you're not gonna run out of material if you're doing that for the first part of the show. You're gonna pull someone in.
If you're into some if you're into celebrity gossip, this is definitely like a good show for you.
Yes, it is. Yes,
I know I know they talked about Cardi B, they talked about Nicki Minaj, they talk about Tessa Thompson and Janelle Monáe. Like, it's a lot of like gossip that may be true, maybe not true. You don't know, making comment. There was something about Vivica Fox and I think somebody from one of the Real Housewives or something with 50 Cent.
Kid Fury joked her for wearing plastic wigs.
It's something.
That shit was funny, man.
Well, I mean, that's a matter of perspective. I didn't laugh, but I'm a little bit harder to please.
You ever seen
the
plastic wig?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, imagine a plastic wig.
It's still not making me laugh. I mean, I get I can understand the comedic value that is being given. It just it's just not my type of comedy. They also did an album review. They talked about Scorpion.
Damn, it's a lot of shit that's not your cup of tea.
No, I mean there is a lot.
It's a lot of shit that's not his cup of tea. We're gonna get some shit that's your cup of tea one day. You need to pick a fucking pod, B.
Yeah. But they also did an album review of Scorpion. They said I think Kid Fury said it was too long.
Yeah.
Did you think it was too long?
When I first heard it, I thought it was too long.
Okay.
And I still feel like there's a lot of songs that still like that the work could do without.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like
I can hear that.
you could. Yeah.
See, I'm a little different.
Do half of each side.
I'm a little different because if I don't like a song, I won't listen to the whole thing. So I got in about a minute to some of these things and was like, well, nope, not this one, not this one. So if I didn't like it, the album went by really fast for me. Yeah, that thing was like,
it wasn't your thing.
No, I think the only tracks I really remember is Nonstop and Emotionless. I think those the only two. And then I listened to
Both of them was hard.
Yeah, I listened to 8 out of 10 just because I heard something about it being like I guess there was some like little minute disses on it. Little shots. But it definitely wasn't anything that I actually listened to the whole thing, was kind of mad after I did the thing. I was like, man, like, first of all, I'm entertaining this only because of that, because when the beat came on, I was like, I'm not really feeling the beat. I really wasn't feeling the lyrics all that much. It was just kind of on. But that's just me personally. So the album went by really, really fast for me, because as soon as, like I said, I got like a minute in and I was like, no, this ain't for me. It's not for me. But I definitely can understand someone saying it's too long. I think it's ambitious to do a double project though. It seems like we're getting a lot of the 7-song projects that are coming out of like the Kanye camp, and then I'm seeing a lot of double albums too from artists who are putting out.
Extremes. I seen a three disc. I think Rachieman dropped a 3.
I haven't heard that.
Is he your R&B? Rachieman, that's a the young boys, their name is like drummers the ear backwards. They did the Black Beatles. I don't know the words of shit. So
is that the one that everybody's like pausing, like the challenge?
Yeah.
Okay. That's their song.
I forgot about that shit. Yeah. Yo. Yeah. Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know their names. But the Black Beatles kind of hit my head on that.
Stuff that has some stand.
What did you listen to Future's album? Did you hear it?
Nah.
Okay. I think that dropped last week.
Beast Mode 2. Yeah, I didn't listen to it. I'm not really a Future head.
I listened to it. Well, I mean, again,
why? That's not your cup of tea.
No, it's not my cup of tea, but I always try to find the need to diversify. I mean, you never know what you'll like until you listen to it. I like preview.
I ain't gonna lie. Remember Bobby Shmurda jump?
Yes.
We was fucking with that jump.
Yeah, there should be no reason why
there's no reason. Lyrical ass nigga was listening to Bobby Shmurda.
Yes. And
this nigga was in hitting the jump too.
Yeah, that was the wave. Oh, yeah. But I listened to, like I said, again, I listened to Future's album, and that means that I listened to, about a minute of each track until I found something that I liked. And the next thing I know, I was at the end and I hadn't stopped. So, yeah, it just wasn't, I didn't really catch anything. I guess I was looking for like a mask off type thing. Yeah. And I just never heard it. It was just kind of like him over some really like low tempo beats.
Beat. Yeah, a lot of niggas remixed the shit out that beat, man. Yeah, they killed that shit. Joyner Lucas jump, Kendrick jump, both of them killed that.
Also, they did an interview on that show too with Big Freedia.
Big Freedia.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yes. Yeah. See, and now that's my thing. So they brought the artist out who is an artist from New Orleans bounce music. I thought they actually did a good interview with the questions that they asked, but then it was over. And then they just went right back into their other, but I thought that the interview itself was good about New Orleans bounce music and, where is it Freedia or was it Frida?
It's from Big Freedia.
Big Freedia? You sure? Because there's like an I in it, I believe.
Yeah, it's Freedia.
Okay. So,
I was thinking Yeah. Also, you said about the Drake. They were saying that they were thinking. Well, Kid Fury was thinking, and Crissle. They were saying they thought that it was going to be more of a New Orleans bounce from the singles, from the Nice for What. I guess they might have picked up on Nonstop. Even
well, they said like
the
a
other one
half
has
bounce
kind
or
of like a
something
yeah.
that.
I mean, that's because New Orleans is. That's the bounce. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't bounce out for real, yeah, then look.
But why would you?
They shaded a little.
I don't get why you expect a guy from Canada to be emulating the New Orleans bounce sound though. Like,
Man,
what
he
did you
emulates a lot of shit. Yeah, he emulate that.
Yeah, but on a
Houston
whole
shit.
album, like I mean,
Yeah.
you would. I mean, why would you expect that from that? Like, I mean, just me personally.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that from. I can't remember
didn't
Nice for What that either. I don't think I even listened to the whole Nice for What. I may have got about a verse in before I was like, nah. So
She was listening to the lyrics. She was like, "This nigga just shading the shit out of niggas."
No, you know what? I don't remember the lyrics. I don't know if I made it that far. Like I remember hearing about it and hearing like all this stuff about it and whatnot. And I'm gonna actually go back and listen to it because I don't know if I even made it through a verse. I think the beat may have came in. I may not have been feeling it to the point that I was like, no, thank you. So that's just me personally again.
All right. Yeah, the read. Mm-hmm. Let's get back to that. Definitely pop culture, current events.
Pop culture, current events.
Definitely not anything that either one of us are interested in. So,
no, you enjoyed yourself. You said you had a good time. You loved Kid Fury and his jokes and
I like the jokes. You know what I'm saying? Even when I didn't know what the fuck who he was talking about or whatever, the shit was still funny a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, is it funny a little bit? Is it funny a lot?
I'm talking about he was talking about someone that I didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
it was
okay.
still
I see
funny
what you're
a little
saying.
bit.
Okay.
Now it was something that I knew, like I was in the conversation. I got what they was talking about.
Now,
and
do
this
you
nigga said some funny shit? That shit was funny.
Now, do you come in ready to laugh, or does this spur you to laugh? Because see, I never go anywhere to like. Some people go to a comedy club and they're there to have a good time, so they're already kind of like prepped to laugh. So if you just say something that's even halfway funny, they're there with you. Or you see it sometimes when somebody tells a joke, it may not necessarily be funny, but it's like it's in the moment.
How you say it and in the moment. And that's what it is with him. It's like I wasn't thinking that this podcast was going to be funny. You know, I thought it was going to be a lot of tea of shit that I'm not interested in.
Well, there was tea.
But
and receipts, as they say as well.
There was what?
Receipts. They go, I got receipts.
Oh yeah,
which I guess is all with tea, receipts, all of that. I think is around the same.
Yeah, it's that slang. I don't get it. I mean, I kind of get it if I hear it in context. But me personally, when I say funny, I'm talking about like the situation, the timing of things, and me specifically. I always think stringing together words that don't necessarily flow together but make perfect fucking sense. You know what I'm saying? That's funny to me. You know what I'm saying? So that's all you got to do. Like just put a compound phrase together with just words that aren't the norm, you know what I'm saying? And you might get a laugh out of me, especially if you roasted somebody. So I thought that was pretty funny. And they went from that all the way into the next segment was Q&A, questions and answers and just interaction with the guests. Let's see. I wrote down some of the questions that they had there. Somebody asked about being called a nigger by a Hispanic man and trying to now not hate all Hispanics. I thought that was a crazy question, but I mean, I guess the fact that they honestly asked it and that's honestly how they was feeling when seeing Hispanic people now is fighting, grouping them together. I like the response that they gave them, that's a dumb fucking idea to do that. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of got to really just categorize that person, which I mean, that's basic general knowledge. Yeah, I don't really think there's really much.
Does that say? Let me ask you that. Does that say something about the people who listen to the podcast?
I thought that shit. I thought that shit too.
Okay,
I really did. That was like, yo, Kid Fury and Crissle would be fucking gurus to somebody who would ask this shit. You know, I'm not saying that they not intelligent or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's a dumb fucking, like, bitch, you know the answer. You just want to talk to them? I think that's what it is. I think a lot of them just like get right into the white girls. A white girl named Megan basically just taking black people's side, like I guess a path of empathy, because she's a writer of some sort and she wants to speak to issues that are affecting blacks currently in the U.S. You know what I'm saying? Just our everyday struggles. I don't know if she was talking about just like the cop shootings or the economy or anything. She didn't
specify.
Say. She just said black issues that white people don't get, and she went on a rant. And I think also she probably was standing a little bit, like she just wanted to be heard, but it might have been a legitimate question. And I like the fact that she wanted to do it and be safe from ridicule. And Crissle told the girl to basically address white people. Don't tell black people what they need to do. And I think that's a safe answer.
And there was another question about therapy. What had they learned about therapy for those people who couldn't afford it? Which, I mean, that I think that's a then she wanted to do a segment on that, and I think that's a good thing, good positive segment to have on your show, because everybody can't afford therapy, and maybe there's something that you go through that she was talking about.
Include.
Yes.
Yeah, that definitely is.
Because everybody can't afford therapy, and if they can learn something from your experiences, I think it's important. But yeah, I got that from I mean, I'm glad they had a question answer portion interactive. I think it's very important when you do live, because if you're not interacting with your audience, you might as well be sitting in the studio.
I found, we'll get into that segment of the read after this, but the last question was about basically if they would do a collaborative effort with the other show, The Friend Zone, and basically saying that if they were to do that, since both of them, I guess, are supposed to be like epitomize like the LGBT community, you know what I'm saying? They're supposed to, you know, really be positive influences there and to showcase a lot of the issues that they have, I guess. They were saying that if they could do a collaborative effort, it would be great for, you know, whatever they got going on. And they seem to be like, yeah, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we do our thing, and it's like we do the ratchet version of it, but this is a platform for you. So I don't think we'll be expecting that anytime soon.
Have you heard that podcast, The Friend Zone?
The Friend Zone? Nah, I heard of The Friend Zone because one of them, Asante, was a guest on, I think, Horrible Decisions.
Of course it was Horrible Decision, your favorite podcast, yes.
It's not my favorite podcast. And also, when I was saying I have my go-to that I go to if I want to hear that type of banter, it's Horrible Decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer that one over, not to compare the two, but to compare them, yeah, I prefer Horrible Decisions over Unwifeable.
Because of the structure?
Yeah, the structure of it, they actually kind of stick to a format, and the format, you're going to get more information, more of a more thorough questioning of the guests. They have segments that I tend to like better, and it's that talk. It's Yas talk, but it's also, I feel like there's the point of the show wins out the other shit for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get enough of a balance. If I want to hear that shit, that's what I put on. If you heard when we were talking about Unwifeable, I kind of was just like it just made me ask questions like, God damn, really? Come on, man. Why the fuck didn't you just get this man like that? Put me there. You know what I'm saying? Horrible Decisions is like you kind of go in, and I kind of feel like I'm going to get insight if they have a guest from a walk that I don't know. Like they had the transgender person up there. It was a transgender host person or radio personality, I believe it was. I forgot his name. I followed him on IG afterwards, and I just felt like they provided insight on what it's like to grow up and not be, you know what I'm saying, not be the sex that you feel you are. You know what I'm saying? And transition in that guy's walk. So I felt like it's substance there. You know what I'm saying? It's not, it's fuck talk too. You know what I'm saying? But it's substance there. That's why I prefer that. I'm a fuck boy with class.
I wear a dinner jacket.
I wear a dinner jacket to my orgies.
All right. And the last, well, did you have any more comments?
Oh yeah, the read part. I tend to shy away from people that are extremely on any side of a thing. Because I feel like if you are on so far on one side of a thing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong with chime in, you know, and play devil's advocate.
I don't think there's anything
wrong. But I just feel
but,
like if you're way on either side of something, the likeliness that you are to hear opposing ideas is just, it's not really likely. You're so far over here that the whole thing, even neutral or to the other side, it just seems completely out of the fucking box and unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? You don't really want to empathize. Not saying that anything they were saying requires it or not, but when I feel, I don't know. It's something that I have from just knowing how to navigate life and people. You know what I'm saying? When someone is extremely in something, and in this case, I'd say left, I feel like they are extremely left That's their choice. I don't care either way, but I take it as a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? I don't really put much behind it, but I listen. I like to listen.
Yeah, but you have to ask yourself, are these people doing it to be entertaining? Or is it like this is not CNN here. So if it's not, you know what I'm saying? So they're not trying to give you, necessarily like
supporting information.
Right. They're up there telling
they sprinkled a few stats in there. Again, a lot of people I feel like do this, and I'm not saying the stats are wrong, but it's sprinkling stats in something to support your argument. And I feel like the read at the end reads are not informative. They're persuasive. I felt like that was persuasive. And the crazy part is that I feel like you're being persuasive to people who are already standing at you know what I'm saying? If you're going to get a ticket to a podcast, you're already invested in these people. It's not going to take much to sway someone. But when you speak like that and you got someone who's not at your show that's maybe listening and they're maybe neutral, they kind of see the other opposing side and your side, and they're not necessarily going to be swayed to your side. And I don't even think if they're fucking concerned to that.
That's what
maybe
I
it's
think
just to vent.
Yeah, I think it's a vent. It's
just a
vent entertainment into, this is what your fan base is looking for, is what they're expecting.
I wasn't entertained though. I'm not entertained in any of it.
But you're not entertained by that particular thing because that's not what you like. Just like I'm not entertained by the jokes because they didn't seem funny to me. So
me personally.
Me personally,
I wasn't entertained by it. I know some people just want to hear it. But I feel like a lot of people hear things that people who have good vocabularies and can articulate well, and I do feel like both of them could do that. I feel like they feel ways and other people say it for them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times. And I feel like that may be the case there. It could be just a vent. But like me personally, I really be tired of hearing the complaints and the arguments and not a way to act subsequently. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do from there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole lot of perspective, but I don't need no more. Me personally, I don't really need no more perspective. Like, I listen to people that have something to say about these meaningful issues of you know what I'm saying, like with the ICE and all this Trumpism shit that's going on, and I listen to these people on my feeds when they're talking about. I got some friends that like, and it's crazy to say because I don't think they had a system to oppress anybody, but it's kind of like a I'm better than you mentality. And that's my white friends and black friends. They posted shit that make me really look at both of them like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, y'all on some supremacy shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. Me personally, I want to hear solutions. Like, give me ideas that could probably help shit. That's all I got from the read. That's what I got from the read segments. I forgot what that was Crissle's read. Do you remember Kid Fury's read? I know he kind of laid in the dudes that was talking about like trying to give they show props, but in a extra hetero way, like trying to like before you give a show its props, you gotta also kind of like be like no homo.
I think didn't he say something like it's okay to like queer comedy?
Yeah,
I think that's what
like, yo, we're funny too. We're good at things too. We're good at reporting. We're good at producing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need the
you're still
gay
people
guy prefix. We don't need that nigga gay but he funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just funny. Which
I think the people who say that are already have that built in. I don't know if it's necessarily against you personally. I just think that's just the way that they approach life with topics.
Man, we come from a reality, like, you know, in our era, bro, it was a lot of that shit was acceptable. It was not.
I don't know.
I've always seen derogatory talk associated with homosexuals, and
yes, that's always killed me about. Especially the culture. I've always been like, people are people, and I just, I don't really care one way or the other, sexual preference or who you want to be, you are who you want to be, that type of thing. But I mean, hip hop culture or just culture in general, I mean, they would say things like no homo, but they'd turn around and tell somebody to suck their dick, which I don't see. That doesn't make any sense to. I'm like, what? So it's a weird thing, I guess that's just part of it. I mean, I think we're definitely noticing some changes though.
I think the 80s is just a bully era anyway. Like, you ever notice the 80s movies, that was a theme in a lot of the movies, was the bully in the neighborhood. It's a common. You know what I'm saying? So I guess just the lack of empathy and just the bullying and just like acting out against people, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I just put people in the fucking nerd. You know what I'm saying? You heard that a lot in you and your fucking geeks, losers, like all this, like all kinds of shit. Like, even to the point where it's like, I feel like the F word for me personally is like the N word. You know how white people be like, can I say it? I'm never gonna say the N word. Like, I'm not saying that shit. Like, it don't feel right for me to say that shit. And that's not to say I'm not gonna sit here and be like I never have back in the day, or you know, somewhere along the line, I got the idea that was derogatory as fuck, and it ain't for me to say. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where, but yeah, I come from that old school 80s shit as well. It just so happened that I wasn't so as opposed to people just being allowed to be who they are sexually, because my mom ain't raised me like that personally.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely feel like this pod this week was my second favorite. The Unwifeable. Yeah, I could have. Well, basically, all right. The point of this show is so that y'all know what y'all getting into. How far are we in? Yeah, y'all know what y'all getting into. So I feel like y'all know what Unwifeable is. Hopefully, y'all know what the read is. And my favorite, actually, so far, which was not really a podcast, but what makes it my favorite, just because of the energy of it, the interviewing, like the content you got in a short period, and the production value, which, I mean, you kind of expect it if it's from the Smiths, is Red Table Talk. I enjoyed it.
Yes. I will also say I enjoyed that 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that 20 minutes. The fact that they're sitting at a red table was a little bit kind of for me. I mean, I get it's
red table talk.
I know, but then you're sitting in like this little small red table. I could have done without that. But
it's marketing.
Yeah, I know it's marketing or whatnot, but it just seemed a little cheesy for me. But I did definitely enjoy it. You know, it's more like kind of like a talk show.
Yeah.
Now,
it's a talk show
if
format.
you're watching this, I found it on Facebook, but it was a little bit hard to find because there's like all these little either clips. I was watching a live version for like 10 minutes before I realized that wasn't the actual episode. This was like a live after, but it was posted before the other ones. I got confused, but I did eventually find the actual show itself.
I don't know that Facebook is the platform for your show. Hats off for trying something new. I don't know of any other shows with noteworthy celebrities that have shows on there. I haven't looked into it. I haven't explored it, but I don't like that whole structure. I don't like the interface at all for that. Like, because like he was saying, I don't know if it's the administrative people at that page that are not. I don't know what it is, but it's really hard. You get into the show because you see the trailers and the teasers, and you're like, man, I gotta see it. And then you go to it, you find it, and then they got more teasers in the episode, but the episode doesn't say it's the episode, so you got to click on it and kind of see the time on it to be like, okay, this must be the episode, and you really got to just scroll down before you get to the episodes. They need some tabs.
They need a page that is just episode. It's just episodes, not even teaser trailers, anything. It's just the episodes. Everybody knows to go there for that, and then everything else can be posted on the other page because it gets really, really crowded.
Yeah.
With the amount of content that they're posting, even between episodes. But it was my favorite, not just because it was 20 minutes. I mean, that was great. But this episode was about facing addiction.
Yeah.
And it was August Alsina, who's an R&B singer, right?
Yeah.
And then it was Jada's mother.
Yep.
And then it was Will Smith's sister.
Yep. Yeah.
And they were all, and one of the great things about this episode, I don't know if they've done this with other episodes, this is the first I've watched, is that they covered the entire spectrum of addiction. They had Jada's mother, who has been clean for 27 years, so she's like way on the other end. They had August Alsina, who had overcome addiction.
The other end being heroin.
Right.
She was on heroin.
Right. And he had overcome it, but he was still in the early stages. And then they had Will Smith's sister, who was still trying to decide what she wanted to do. And I thought that was a great guest to have on the show. Way to put that together.
August was on Percocets.
Right.
And Will's sister was just deciding what she's going to do about marijuana because she felt like it was a crutch for her to deal with her emotions.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. Like, just having, a seasoned, been dealing with this for 27 years, because you always at it. But, being clean 27 years, August, who, and it's crazy, though, because Jada came from that. She came from that, and she reached out, and her family reached out to August because he said he felt like he needed help. So to come from having a parent that's on drugs, and then to have your family and then reach back into a younger generation and kind of help in that respects, you know what I'm saying? I felt like that's a teller of someone's character, which I love Jada anyway, man. I love everything she says most of the time. Every time I've heard something, I'm just like, yes, 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 black woman.
What do you think about August Alsina saying that it's as simple as making a choice, and then Jada's mom being like, it isn't? Because it was interesting because I saw her shaking her head when they were doing the editing, and she obviously did not agree with that. But honestly, the people that I've known who have been addicted to things, it was as simple as making a choice. They made a choice to do something differently, and then they made their lives around that choice. And it feels to me that, because even when she was talking in the beginning, she was saying, I don't know if there was a little bit of consternation between her and Jada, because she was saying how she didn't do it. It wasn't like her decision. It was because this guy came in. And I immediately thought to myself, was like, well, you didn't have to. You still made that decision that you were going to because for the guy. But that's still your decision. No one forced any drugs down your throat or shooting up or whatnot. So you made a choice that you wanted this guy into your life, and the only way that you thought you could have him there is by doing these drugs. So you made that decision.
Yeah, she made the decision. I think it was the motivation. That's
right.
what it was. The motivation was not her own, was not herself. You know what I'm saying? The motivation was her being able to have this guy in her life, which kind of is her motivation, is something that she wanted in her life, but it wasn't just her life being healthy. It was her life being with this guy, and to get this guy, she needed healthy and clean. I think it sounds to me like maybe it wasn't even. No, it was a choice. Maybe she doesn't feel like it was a choice, because it seemed like she didn't come to terms with the fact, like she didn't feel right about the fact that it was a guy that she did it for. So maybe for her, she's not acknowledging that it really was her choice. Maybe it wasn't a moment when you're like, I'm going to make this choice. Maybe it was small little things that you did that were choices, and you never really had to make a choice. Like sit down and say, I'm making this choice.
Yeah, I definitely didn't understand that, because I mean, when August Alsina said it was making a choice, I definitely agree with that, because that's what you do. You make a choice, and then when you make that choice, then you have to pattern your life around that choice. All right, I'm not gonna do drugs anymore. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, well, I shouldn't have them in the house. Or maybe I can't hang out. I've known people who can't hang out with the same people that are around them anymore, because they're still on drugs. They don't want to get pulled out into that lifestyle. So because of the choice that they made, they can no longer do this.
You know what though? I don't think he's relapsed yet.
No, he hasn't.
She's made a choice, and she said before she made the choice before, but she didn't. She relapsed several times.
Relapsed several times.
So
yes.
Maybe what she's saying is that a choice was not enough for her. She needed a choice and some sort of support system.
Well, but that may be what you need, but that's not what everyone needs. And I don't think that you necessarily need to. I mean, if you're talking about, and that's sometimes it's very hard within the format whenever you're talking to be like, this is what I'm saying for me, as opposed to being like, this is what is true. You know, we're talking about this podcast, and I might say I didn't like this podcast, or I may say, you know, they talked about this and this isn't taboo, and I may just end it there. And somebody goes, well, it is taboo. I mean, culture feels like it's taboo, and I'm talking about for me personally, and it's because you don't want to go around saying, well, I think after every sentence that you have, or before every sentence you have. Maybe that's what she meant. For her, it wasn't a choice.
Yeah, for her, it wasn't
for
a
him,
choice. For
it
everybody,
was.
it isn't a choice.
Right.
For him, it might have been for a choice, but I think she might have.
But
felt
some
like
people
he
do
might
need
have been generalizing.
she might need a support system, because I think she said later on, you can't do it by yourself. And I was like, what? I know I've had family members who've decided the house looked like the ABC store.
They were both generalizing in different to their experience. She's saying she couldn't do it by herself. He's saying it's as simple as a choice. None of them identify with what the other one was saying was necessarily true for them, but it could be true for other people.
Absolutely. I think you can have a good balance between, what everybody, because I may look at it and I'll go, man, I need to get some help doing this. And that may not work for me, because I may have other people around and I'm like, man, this is actually making it worse. And what I needed to do was do it by myself, because that's what would work for me. And somebody else may try to do it for themselves and be like, I really can't do it. And they actually do need help. Mm-hmm. So it's good to have the different perspectives, which then again, having this myriad of guests in different places in their lives is really great, because you're getting different aspects from different people. I thought the show was well put together. The only thing that I would say about it is the edits. Some of them were
pretty obvious.
Yeah, the cuts were a little too harsh on some of the cuts. But I really love the show. I really love the energy.
I was about to say that exact same word, where it's like we're getting into the content of it. It's 23 minutes. So, I mean, you really can't talk about the episode and dance around the content. So we're getting into the content pretty heavy. It's definitely still worth going there to experience.
Oh, absolutely.
I would definitely check it out. I feel like this pod is safe to eat. I mean, if you are familiar with Jada, then you kind of know what you're signing up for, and you're going to get that. She's going to come through with that. Really, all I can say about the structure is, like Alex said, it's a red table. It's called Red Table Talk. They have guests up there that they know, and the energy is really part of the structure. It's positive vibes. It's open arms. It's embracing each other. It's discuss, and it's a level of comfort there where they're gonna give this person, I guess, their inner workings. Like I want to lay on Jada Pinkett's therapy couch and talk to her about, I don't know anything. It don't even matter, but definitely that energy is there. That's part of the structure. It's embedded. You can't have Red Table Talk without that energy there, without Jada. Or I don't know, I feel like maybe her kids, but they kind of got the same kind of like
it's environment.
Not judgmental, embracive type of vibe to them.
We live your environment is very important to your upbringing and how you see life and how you go through life, because so you're influenced by a lot of what you see. I think even everybody around the table who was dealing with addiction came from an environment of addiction. So everybody had someone on there who was on drugs. Some people died from drugs, had family members who died from drugs. So that was something that they were around. And that definitely influences you as you're growing up and how you see the world. And it's not just drugs too. When we talk about addiction, it's anything that you for me, it's anything that you lean on heavy. I know Jada talked about
a crutch.
Yeah, I know Jada talked about a sexual addiction.
Yeah. She says she's addictive in general though.
Right,
like she'll be drinking wine and have three bottles down, or what I'm saying. She says that
I think that's when she needed it. She knew she needed a change. Was then when she did that, but she said she's been addicted to the gym, as well. But yeah, it's anything that and even something good can be bad if you're leaning on it too heavy.
If you need it,
right?
It's a crutch. Man, it's not like biologically a part of you, but you need it to function or to cope or to crutch.
And some of those can actually be the worst crutches, because you feel okay about it, because you say to yourself, well, exercise is good, you should exercise, but I'm here, I'm doing a 3 a day, and it's like, hey, you don't really need to be here anymore. Your muscles are overworked. You're actually hurting yourself. And it's like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna keep coming. Or, some people with like food, like, well, you need food to live. And it's like, not as much as you had, you cut back. Yeah. So, it's anything that you lean on. It could be ice cream. If you're eating too much ice cream, then that's a problem. So I think people don't see things that way, especially when it comes to maybe like weed, because the girl was talking about weed, and some people don't even see weed as like a problem. And it's like, but if you can't
that's
stop
for you,
right?
For again, like that's it. It's our society, man. It's the lack of empathy, the not seeing the value in empathy, and not trying to really understand where other people are coming from. You know where you're coming. A lot of people don't even know where the fuck they coming from. So you know what I'm saying? They don't know where they coming from, and it's dangerous that they feel more comfortable just assuming where other people are coming from. And then you have where people feel like they know exactly where they're coming from and don't care at all what other people. But it's all empathy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just not imposing the way you see things as the way someone else will see things, should see things. You know, just understand people are different. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now, I actually dove into another one of those because it was too short for me, and that's my only complaint about the show was that it's 22 minutes.
That's my highlight of my show. The show was that it was 22 minutes.
I really feel like I could have gone for more talk from either one of them, August, or like maybe specific situations. And I feel like the most important thing, which was the general ideas of what they were doing and their stripes and all that, I feel like they covered that, but I could have went for more of it. You know what I'm saying? I got into the other episode with Tiffany Haddish. Did you get to check that one out?
No.
Yeah, again, same energy, same vibe. It's really, just Jada doing her thing. She's a friend. You could tell they're friends off camera. They did the movie together. But you could tell that they had a relationship. They have a relationship now, and you could tell the energy was definitely there. Tiffany Haddish got into, her upbringing. I remember hearing about her being in a foster care system, but I didn't know why. It wasn't what I thought. Why? If someone tells me something about being in the foster care system, I immediately think like negligent parents, just because that's what, again, that's been my experience. But I understand that that's not the case. In her situation, definitely it was kind of the case, but there was an underlying reason why it came to that, and I could actually give you that, and hopefully y'all will go check that episode out and find out what exactly landed her in the foster care system. And also she touched on like people saying she said people used to be like, you stupid, and she used to be like, actually believe she was stupid. She also actually believed that she wouldn't get out of the hood, that she would be a baby mama, and so she had a problem with literacy because she didn't apply herself, because she actually believed that she was stupid.
Didn't it mean stupid like funny, maybe?
That's what she was saying, like, yo, they were saying I was funny. I think she used to think that
I haven't seen
stupid.
enough Tiffany Haddish to formulate an opinion on that. I don't think. I didn't see that
whether
movie.
She's funny or not.
Yeah, I haven't seen any instances of her of what she does that has been funny, but I haven't really seen like a lot to really. I didn't see the movie that she did with but I mean, this may not just be my type of comedy. A lot of comedy that I like is more observational, so it may just not be up my lane.
She was in Girls Trip.
I didn't see that.
She was on SNL. She was up there.
I don't find SNL funny most of the time. Like they have to do stuff that is so kind of not generic, excuse me, but that appeals to such a broad audience that I think a lot of times that it doesn't. Like when I was growing up, In Living Color was always funnier to me because they did a lot of jokes and stuff that I could relate to myself personally. But SNL has to do something that applies to a much larger, broader audience. Or that's at least what they try to do, and they also try to stay topical as much as possible. So there's always like what's ever going on,
current shit.
Yeah. So it's so I don't remember seeing her on SNL. I may have seen like half of her stand up on there. They come out and do a stand up. But are you a Tiffany Haddish? Do you think she's funny?
I think she's funny. I like her personality, the way she presents herself, and the vibe around her. Like I like that. It's fun loving. She's got a fun loving personality. Yeah, I think she's pretty funny. I like the interview. I think that they did a good job. I thought what was interesting is that what Will was saying and what she was saying, what Will was saying in the episode that we did, Rap Radar.
Okay.
And this one, it's basically just applying Like, she didn't believe that she could do something. Like, Will was saying he never believed that he couldn't do something. It's just being able, like, he was willing to die for what he wanted to.
Skill versus talent.
Yeah, skill versus talent. She was saying that she kind of believed at a point that she wouldn't ever do anything, so she didn't apply herself. But once she started applying herself, you know, and the story unfolded, we could see what happened. But that just goes to show, man, that it all originates in what you believe. Well, your circumstances
too. I mean, I'm sure you have to, because I'm gonna say she had a meteoric. I'm not gonna say she had a meteoric rise, because I don't know how long she was in the business before all of a sudden Tiffany Haddish was just everywhere. Because at one point I didn't even know who Tiffany Haddish was, and then there was no way that you could deny the fact that she was just everywhere. Yeah. So I don't know. So that's still a meteoric rise. I just don't want to say that and then give the opinion, because I hear that a lot of times, and then you find out the person's been in the industry for 15 years, beforehand. But I mean, some people are literally
a meteoric acceptance. True. I don't know if it was a meteoric rise, but definitely meteoric acceptance. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's been received well.
Yeah, but how much is that just what we do in society, where we push certain people into the limelight and say you're going to love them, and if you don't love them, you're going to see them, regardless of whether you love them or not, you're going to see them everywhere, to the point you're just going to have to. Because I see that a lot.
I don't see it a lot.
I
see, like, people, like, if people are pushed to the point where, like, you can't force someone to like someone.
Of course you can. They do the same thing with music. They used to give you the top 10 songs, but they only played certain songs.
I never liked any of those. Those are the ones that I hated after a while.
Yeah, but you didn't. But they were the ones that sold a lot of records. They basically told you what you're going to like. This is it, and this is this is the music. It's very similar to certain. There's certain people that I see in the limelight who I'm like, why are they, like me personally? I'm like, but they keep pushing them in movies, in TV, in ads, and everything, and I just keep seeing them. And people are like, well, they're here, and I guess I'm gonna have to. This is it. This is a person that I'm going to have to like. Or it's the way people market them. I see that when Jennifer Lawrence, she first came out, and people were like, oh, Jennifer Lawrence, she's so great, or she's so down home. She's this.
They were
she's
talking
that.
about this on Joe podcast today, talking about, like, they were talking. They made a comparison, because you know what you call it, Mike Epps and and Kevin Hart had another exchange of words. And
they need to let it go.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they do.
I don't see the point.
I see where both of them were coming from, but
where's Mike Epps coming from?
Mike Epps was just saying he doesn't think he's funny, and he should be allowed to say that he doesn't think he's funny.
Well, he just did. So what's the problem?
Exactly. He just said he didn't think that Kevin Hart was funny, and then Kevin Hart basically was like, "Why does this nigga keep digging on me? Like, yo, just because you unhappy," and went on a pretty lengthy rant about why he's not thinking about anything that Mike Epps is saying, that he's focused on success, and that Mike Epps is a tiny man. And then Mike Epps went back and said, you just trying to victimize yourself. Yeah, I said I don't think you funny, but a lot of people don't think you're funny.
Yeah, but nobody
have to acknowledge. You'd have to sit here and try to rebuttal everyone on the internet. If you're gonna do that, don't stop here. That's what he's saying. He's saying, like, I should be able to say that I don't think you're funny.
Yeah, but I'm also sick of people getting on the internet pretending that they can't say something that they've already said, and then pretend that there's just like I can't.
What you mean?
Like,
they can't say something they already said.
Like when you like, I can't say this person's not funny because blah 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 this or that, or it's not allowed, or blah blah blah. It's allowed. You just said it. You've said it before. You said Kevin Hart isn't funny before. Now you're saying it again.
Yeah, this came from a fan. Actually, it was a post that he posted with Eddie Murphy. I guess they working on something, and the fan said both funnier than Kevin Hart, and then Mike Epps might have commented, don't quote me, but I believe Mike Epps commented that shit, a lot of people funnier than Kevin Hart, and that's where Kevin saw it and went on a rant, and that's where.
Yeah, I would have to go back on their history. When I first heard about the Mike Epps, I don't even know what you want to beef, if you will. I felt like Mike Epps was hating on the success of Kevin Hart. And I mean, personally, I've never found Mike Epps to be funny in like a stand-up sense. I think he did like Next Friday or one of those movies. I mean, he was cool in that.
Fridays.
He was good in Resident Evil. I liked him in Resident Evil.
All About the Benjamins.
That was all right. That really wasn't. The bottom line is I've never looked at like Mike Epps and was like, oh my goodness, he's laugh out loud funny. That type of thing.
This is gestures.
Well, yeah. Well, and then Kevin Hart came along and I started watching like his stand up specials and I was like, these aren't funny to me. Like
Which
I didn't
ones?
like it.
Cause for me, his earliest shit was hilarious, and then he blew and he started making movies, and then his stand up was no longer funny at all. I didn't.
Well, he's had people writing for him now. I appreciate. I will say this. He did an interview. I can't remember which radio show it was on, but he talked about putting on black.
He puts on people.
He put, and I felt like that was such a great thing to do, and was like, hey, you guys may not like what I'm doing, but I'm a brand, and I'm putting on, black people, and I'm giving them a chance. And I will say this again about, people don't like Tyler Perry, but he has put a lot of black actors who I assumed no longer wanted to work in Hollywood in movies. And I hadn't seen them for 3, 4, 5 years, and then come to find out, I was like, yeah, I've been trying to work, but no one wants to give me a job for whatever reason, and he puts them in movies,
right.
And I have to appreciate that for what it is, to see these black actors working in Hollywood. So I appreciate Kevin Hart for that. I did not find his stand up funny. I did find his movies. I like his stick, but I know at some point that would get old because I like Vince Vaughn, kind of like witty, type of like fast response stuff. And then when he was doing it 15 years later, I was like, well, I'm kind of over this.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Get.
Yeah, and it just gets kind of old because there's no growth there. So I would have to go back and watch Kevin Hart's old specials.
Yeah,
the last two that he's had, I haven't laughed.
Bro, I didn't laugh at all with the one with the long driveway and daddy and the baby his daughter hopping out talking about boo and them all running away in the car. Daddy left it. Like, I don't know. I didn't laugh at all at that. I don't even remember what it was called. I didn't laugh at it. No. But I will say that it's a trade-off now because although I don't like his stand-up anymore, I still like his older stand-up and I like his movies. They're enjoyable. I won't say that they're laugh out loud funny, but they are funny and they are enjoyable, and I do like his movies.
Did you see Central Intelligence?
I did.
Was it good? Because I haven't seen it yet.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not mad at him at all. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, he is a brand. He is putting black people to work that I'm not sure would be working if it wasn't for his career and his brand. At least
not working at this high level.
Yeah.
They may be doing something, but they wouldn't be doing, a movie with someone who can command $20 million or whatnot, or can make, $100 million movies. To that degree.
I take the trade-off.
And I'm not saying, I have not gone over and looked over all of the static that he's had with Kevin Hart, Mike Epps. Yeah. Not saying he's a hater. I don't know for sure because I'll have to go back and look over everything again. But if Mike Epps doesn't like what Kevin Hart's doing, then he shouldn't have to, and that's his opinion, and no one should be faulted for having an opinion. I could even understand.
I don't think he was up there. It's not like he had a campaign and he's trying to sway people to say don't like Kevin. That nigga ain't funny. He ain't no real comedian. To me, I feel like the nigga should be able to say he don't think he funny.
No, and I think a lot of people share that opinion. I can't remember what he said at first though, because the first part may have been something that there's a reason that I must have thought he was a hater, because I normally don't have opinions like that. So something maybe an original tweet. I remember message.
Before back in the day he was talking about how, and that was a campaign where I was like, yeah, he hated, because he was talking about how Kevin Hart basically was shoved down our throat, like how.
But that's what I was talking about before, where it's like, here, and I can understand, somebody who's been in the game for a lot longer says, hey, listen, I wasn't given the same opportunities that Kevin Hart was, and I feel some type of way about that, and I'm okay with someone expressing that opinion, because Kevin Hart was literally everywhere. He was doing a movie like every 3 months. It's like, oh, it's more Kevin Hart. Oh, it's an ad. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that.
Yeah, but also to say, I'm gonna speak personally, man, like. Early on in his career, Kevin Hart was on his fucking grind. They talking about when he was in them stand up shows and venues that this dude had new material every week. I know he was dropping new material on these little comedy segments or whatever he was putting out there, and they were funny as shit, and they were different, and they were coming frequently. And he was doing movies with, like, Rockefeller and Dame and all of them when they was doing their little movies. and he was doing that. He was on his fucking grind. And I remember seeing Mike Epps and then seeing him a few years later, and I don't know how people develop their comedy or whatever the case, but it was a lot of the same material.
Yeah, but wasn't he at that point more focused on movies?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not a comedian, but all I'm saying is that I remember a time where this nigga was grinding his ass off. And for real, I remember a time where Mike Epps was the nigga. He was the one that really was being shoved down people's throats. And I don't remember feeling like he was shoved down people's throat, but he was definitely on the forefront being in these movies. You know what I'm saying?
But I think that's what he's
Friday.
I think that's what he was saying though. He was saying that I've paved the way for the role that he's now skating on, and I don't feel like I'm getting my proper due.
What's your proper? I don't understand.
I'm not saying he deserves proper due, but I'm saying that I think that's how he feels about the situation. Like, you know, I did this before. Well, I think that's what he was getting at. Now, like I said, again, I would have to go back and check everything, but that's what it sounded like to me. It's just I haven't gotten my proper due. I think there was a song.
I'd have to see that.
There was a song, a Drake song, when he was like, I'm breaking, from his new albums, where he says, I'm breaking the speed limit or something like on road that these niggas paved. And I think now they have like they feel some type of way about it. And I think that may be what it is. Like, I laid the foundation and it was hard for me to lay the foundation. And now you get to come and just walk on this road that I've already done.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's people not just feeling like people walked somewhere. Like, yeah, I feel like people might have jumped on the bandwagon and pushed it, but this man had to walk to the place where these people met him and put him on the band. Like, he didn't just fall there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if even, like, I don't even know if Mike Epps really knows this man enough. He might to know that he just walked there or not, but I didn't see the man just walking in anything.
But if now, see, here's my issue with this, because when one of these rappers, I can't remember which one, was saying Tupac was whack and they didn't like it, everybody was up in arms about this new cat.
It was a few of them. It was what you call it? What you call it? Zan said he was boring, and I remember Triple X said that Pac was. I think he was basically saying that he doesn't understand why he's revered the way he is. We have revolutionaries now, you know what I'm saying, that are better musicians than Pac was.
But people were saying that they should pay homage to the people who came before them, who paved the way for what they can do now. But we're not saying that about these people who are in the entertainment industry and say, hey, listen, no one's paying respect to someone who feels like he paved the way to help other people come through. That's what he was getting at, I think. Now, I can tell you right now, Faison Love talking about how he ain't never
Kevin Hart ain't make a nigga laugh.
Now, see, that's hating. There's no way you go anywhere. You first of all, anytime you say something that
you
is,
can hold that L. You can hold the shit out that L.
I think that, I mean, when you make a general like statement like that and it's hyperbole, that there's no way that's not hating. That's hating. But I would have to go again. I would have to go back and check again on Mike Epps. But I don't know. I mean, I think sometimes because of what Kevin Hart may have responded in the way that he responded, because he's just tired of hearing, like, somebody could do something to you like 5 or 6 times and then it's over, and then maybe it's like a little jab, and then it's like, no, I have to say, they feel some type of way because of what's happened in the past. So it may not just be the little comment now. It's like, you're still doing this. Here's how I feel like I need to say something.
You know what it reminds me of, that Cardi B meme where she's sitting in the doorway and the sibling like, get out my room, and she's like, I'm not in your room, and she's standing there out. This is kind of like, I don't want you in my room, and I want my fucking space, and I don't really want you in it right now. But then I feel like Kevin Hart probably already picks up on the vibe that Mike Epps has about him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so like by Mike Epps being able to say, that nigga ain't funny. Nigga, so what? I can't have an opinion. That's like standing in the doorway when you and him both know that there's a fucking vibe there where he really don't want you to speak on him at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Kevin Hart is sitting on his bed reading the book. Mike Epps
the fucking book, minding his business.
And Kevin Hart and Mike Epps came across the door, was like, you still ain't funny. just kept
like,
walking.
Man, you a fucking hater. You so petty. And so like I feel like Kevin Hart was like, you petty motherfucker. And he's like, yo, I could walk around and say what I want to say. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it is. It's just it's a bad vibe there. You know
it's weird to me too, because I feel like Mike Epps has had a really good career as well. I mean, and never got to the meteoric place that Kevin Harts got to, but not a lot of people do.
And that's the thing about you paying homage, because these people that have come before a lot of times have not got the same accomplishment and the same benefits that the people that come later, because people saw what they was doing, saw that it was marketable, saw that they could make $1 with it, and then they put $1 behind it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They found ways to make money. But the thing is that now it's happening in people's lifespans. You know what I'm saying? Like, This was 10 years ago, and you watching someone that is fucking filthy and loving life all over social media, the same social media you on, and it's because you did something beforehand. Like you helped someone navigate a blueprint that this man is working now. I see the frustration, but I don't feel like I would want to have that that kind of hater vibe associated with me.
Well, I think the question is, well, yeah, I mean, he may not.
Fuck me from roasting this shit, man.
But
he don't care.
But what is my thing is, what do you want? Do you want me to stand up and say, hey, you know, Mike Epps, you know, paved the way for me to do what I did today? Do you want him to cast you in some movies? Do you want him to put you on the payroll? What is it that you're really like looking for? Or do you just want to just make comments about, because the thing is, I feel like you're not making about comments about everybody you're not finding funny. So you've singled this person out, but why? Like, what are you hoping to gain from this, I guess? I just want to know what you want. You know what I'm saying? Because then we can move from there, and then, you know, maybe the situation can become more amicable. Because I don't really see the need for these two to be having this type of beef, because I don't understand the reason for it. If you don't find him funny, then that's fine. Then we move on. We talk about something else. And if somebody says, hey, yeah, it's still better than Kevin Hart, be like, yeah, man, I already talked about that. I don't really need to bring that back up. Like, you felt the need to again speak on it. So I'm just wondering, you know, what do you need? What do you
win this for?
Yeah. So, but again, too, it could just be old school mentality. It's like, yo, I just say what I want, man. You got a problem? You know, you got a problem with it, then, you know what I'm saying? Then it is what it is. But, you know, so it could just be that as well. So I can't say for sure, you know, what they want with each other. But I mean, you know, I think they both had great careers, and I really don't see the need for anything other than positivity in this industry for two people who have made it. You should be happy. It's like, I made it, you made it, this guy made it. You know, we're all walking on roads that other people paid for us, that Eddie Murphy paid for us, and that, you know, the comics, you know, Red Fox paid for us, and all of these comedians who've come before us.
I don't see, like, it's not like every day niggas is posting any of them old school heads. They might revere Red Fox in a picture where they dressed up like him, or say something that he did, or post something that say legends every once in a while. But really, you want to is his people's taken care of? Is anyone looking into any of that? Is anyone inviting these old people that paid the way to any of these events like that? Any of these award ceremonies? Like, it's always where someone could pay more homage. At what point is it, why do you need homage from me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you need that from me?
Right.
Like, if I know I did something, I did it for me in the moment right then, and I knew that I was going to get what I got out of it, but I was going to do it anyway. Why now that I felt like maybe I should have got more? Or I don't know. I don't know why. Like, why the fuck now I want accolades from somebody? You know
I mean, we're all standing on the shoulders of someone else, and it just feels weird that you want. That doesn't feel weird. I mean, I understand it to some degree, but I feel like at some point you just have to be happy with what you have, and just say, I've done more in my life than A, that I thought I would accomplish, and B, more than a lot of other people thought I would accomplish, and I'm able to put myself and my family in a great position, and I should be happy with that. But I'm not, because this guy has more than I have, and I feel like I didn't get the opportunity to be who he was. And if I was given the opportunity to be who he was, I would have been just as big as he was.
So all right, you got to put your money down. Do you think that that's the way Mike Epps feels, and he's just hating, or do you feel like he just gets some sort of kick out of agitating Kevin Hart?
I think it's in the middle. I think it's how he feels.
Right. Like,
I
there's
don't
some truth behind.
Yes,
behind
I definitely
how he feels.
And I do think it's the situation does agitate him. But I don't think it's real beef. But I think it could get deep. but I can think it can get there if it continues, because at some point,
what the fuck is real comedy beef though? What the fuck they gonna
well, I
do?
don't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't. You know,
They're gonna throw them. They're gonna drive by and throw them chatter teeth at a nigga.
Well,
What the fuck do come? I don't know, man. You think niggas is gangster?
well, no, I don't. And it would be a really stupid.
I just want to
move.
see a roast. I love to see a roast, like a joke battle with them niggas.
You might get that. I mean, I don't see why not.
Oh
I mean, they're
man,
both,
let me see that.
you know, I don't know. I mean, neither one of them has been funny to me in years, so I don't. I mean, I would still watch, you know, but
Yeah, I watch that shit.
but I don't know what I would expect, because I think you said it earlier. You know, at one point Mike Epps was given to us in that same way, where it was Mike Epps. You know, so you know, it is what it is. I think it does agitate him, but I think at the end of the day, I guess my issue is things have a way of escalating. I don't think this will, but things do have a way of escalating. The last thing the one thing you don't want is it to get too big, where it's not even about the original issue anymore. It's about something else, which it does turn into a big issue. So, you know, you've got that to worry about as well. But I don't think it'll ever get there. I think it's pure comedy, agitation. I don't think it's iron sharpening iron. I think there is definitely some ill feelings on the back of it, but I don't think it's anything that's going to lead to anything other than Twitter, Instagram, social media.
Right.
You know, I think that's where it
ain't
stops.
that deep for either one. I could have did without it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, could have did without it. So, got anything else?
That's it for me.
Yeah. So, went off onto a rant about some beat that has nothing to do with pods, but we can do what the fuck we want to do.
Again, that's old school mentality.
Yeah, do what the fuck we want.
And I'm picking the pods next week, guys. So, you know, there's going to be some diversity in what you hear. That's what I'm going to bring you, diversity.
So, yeah, we're gonna look forward to seeing this diversity that Alex brings.
You picked podcasts that portray your lifestyle.
This is not my lifestyle. Yo,
yes.
don't put this on me, man. I would like
This is
people-
Rachieman's lifestyle.
I would like for
and-
people that know me to not.
And
feel
people who know
like-
you feel this the same way.
Yo, people who know me do not feel like I'm out here.
Oh, they do not?
With my nutting on titties and all this.
Yes, they
and
do.
third.
That's
No,
how they
don't.
feel about you.
Come on, man.
Yes,
Don't
that's
do
too.
this to me.
No,
Come on,
that's
man.
how they
Yo,
feel about you.
Yo,
That's how they feel.
Yo.
How many times have people said those type of things to you? And
I mean,
to the point where you're like,
but it's not based in anything.
it has to be based in something.
It's not based on anything. It
has
really
to.
isn't. Like
It has to be. No one's just coming out of thin air. No one's.
Yeah,
no
they
one's.
are.
No,
They
they're
are.
not. No. Oh come.
Know
Oh
why
come
people
on.
think that they niggas think I'm out here living.
You're
living that
unwifeable.
I'm not living
You're
that life.
unwifable. You're unwifable. That's what it
I'm out,
is.
nigga, I'm out here grinding. I'm grinding, podcasting, dadding, man. I ain't out here doing all that, man.
He's lying to you.
Listen, man. I might want to run for something one day. Don't do that.
With your opinions on here, you're also going to be unelectable. Some of the stuff that you said. But the battery is running low on this laptop, so it's going to end soon. So.
All right, so thank y'all for tuning in to
Yes, thank you.
episode 5, Eat the Pods. Yeah, man, it's a wrap.
Right. We'll see you next week with 3 more pods that we will digest for you so you don't have to.
Yeah.
We're out.